Good evening. Good to have you with us in this edition of The Last Word. Before we go to the big debate, we've got a series of breaking news coming in. After Election Commission barred Yogi Adityanath and Mayawati from campaigning, the Election Commission has now barred Azam Khan of the Samajwadi Party from campaigning for his sexist remark on Jayaprada. EC has barred him for a period of 72 hours starting tomorrow at about 10 a.m. So, cracking the whip there, our Election Commission, the third big order that has come out just today. This one against Azam Khan for his sexist comment that was made. We're going to go across to Ayushman to get you some more details on this. Ayushman, let's begin with Azam Khan because it's interesting what EC has to say in its order. They have also observed the fact that he is a repeat offender and the action was taken against him in 2014 as well.
Azam Khan made a sexist comment against Jayaprada in a veiled reference when he brought in his party leaders like Akhilesh Yadav to defend what he said. But today in the morning there was an FIR registered against him, and also CEO of UP said that they have sent the report in later in the evening, after which the Election Commission has taken this action of barring him to campaign for the polling ahead of the polling that is to take place. And that is why the Commission has also noted that this person is a repeated offender, and that is why 72 hours ban has been handed over to him. Definitely, there was a loud cry over his remark, and he clearly defended his words, saying he did not take a particular name. But the NCW, as well as the other people, said that this was a clear offence and a violation of Model Code of Conduct. Hence, the EC has taken this action, Sanvi.
Yes, in fact, the Commission says that we have seen the video recording of his impugned speech, and we are convinced that he has made a highly provocative speech which has the tone and tenor of to aggravate existing differences. So they have obviously also referred to many other parts of the speech. But what is interesting is that the Election Commission here has noted the fact that this is not the first time he has actually made such a comment. Azam Khan has not changed his way of campaigning, and he is still indulging in using very objectionable language in election campaigning. That's the verdict that Azam Khan, that the EC has on Azam Khan. Let's move on. We've got one more big order coming in from the Election Commission. Well, here is the second order, and this one is against Maneka Gandhi. She's also been barred from campaigning for the next 48 hours. Remember, this is a big story that we brought to you here on Mirror Now. Maneka Gandhi's comments, which was literally a threat, an open threat to the Muslim voters in her constituency, saying that if you're not going to give me your vote, I will not work for you. I am going to win either which way. But when I win and I come back, why should I work for somebody who's not voted for me? A clear voter intimidation threat tactic for which EC has observed that that is a strongly reprimandable behavior and a condemnable behavior, which is why we understand she has been barred for 48 hours. Ayushman, technically speaking, now the EC has covered two leaders from the BJP, Adityanath and Maneka Gandhi, Azam Khan from the Samajwadi Party and Mayawati from the BSP. Four big orders today. Ayushman? Okay, we seem to have some bit of a problem with that line. In fact, let's move on to the other breaking that's coming in. And hours after Election Commission cracked the whip on Mayawati and Yogi Adityanath for their communal comments, BSP Supremo is brazening it out, and she has accused the election panel of bias. Mayawati claims that the decision to bar her from political campaigning for 48 hours seems to have been taken under pressure from someone. Listen in to that comment first.
आयोग द्वारा 11 अप्रैल 2019 के कारण बताओ नोटिस में कहीं भी ये आरोप नहीं लगाया गया था कि हमने कोई भड़काऊ भाषण दिया था। कारण बताओ नोटिस में सिर्फ एक ही आरोप लगाया गया था कि हम किसी एक समाज के नाम से वोट मांग रहे हैं। अपने जवाब में मैंने ये भी लिखा कि भाषण की कोई सीडी मुझे उपलब्ध नहीं कराई गई है, जिसके अंतर्गत परम पूज्य बाबा साहब डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर द्वारा बनाए गए संविधान में जो इस देश के हर नागरिक को एक मूलभूत अधिकार अनुच्छेद 19 में दिया गया है, उसमें हमें वंचित किया जा रहा है, और वह भी बगैर किसी व्यक्तिगत सुनवाई के। या तो मुझे सुनना चाहिए था, वह भी बगैर किसी व्यक्तिगत सुनवाई के तथा बगैर कोई साक्ष्य सीडी वगैरह दिए हुए जल्दबाजी में लिए गए इस निर्णय को, जो कि स्पष्ट तौर पर किसी दबाव में आकर लिया गया ही प्रतीत होता है, इसको इस देश का गरीब, खासकर इस देश का गरीब, मजलूम, असहाय, शोषित एवं वंचित समाज कभी भी भुला नहीं पाएगा।
So there you heard Mayawati making a very, very big charge on a day that she has been pulled up for a comment that she made asking voters, Muslim voters, to vote for the BSP and to not let the entire vote get split between various parties. That was the controversial alleged comment that had been made by her, based on which EC had issued her a notice. Now, the big question here, viewer, is 4 of these netas have now faced action from the Election Commission. So we decided we should call our experts and ask them if they think this is action good enough. The message that has gone out by the Election Commission is that divisive comments are not allowed. Sexist comments, derogatory, insulting comments are not allowed. Comments that will mislead the voters, comments that will divide the voters are not allowed. Comments asking for a voter's support based on religion or caste is not allowed. But is the action of 48 to 72 hours of, punishment barring them from public campaigning enough? Should there have been more? For example, in the case of Azam Khan, he's a repeat offender. Should he even be allowed to contest elections? For example, in the case of Yogi Adityanath, he's the chief minister. He holds an important post. Can he get away so easily when he makes such comments? That's the big debate tonight. Let's also say good evening to our panelists. I've got Anila Singh of the BJP, Ghanshyam Tiwari of the Samajwadi Party, Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist, Professor Jagdeep Chokar, founder, member of the ADR, Yogi Tabhayana, social activist, joining us this evening. And I want to start off with Neerja Chaudhary. Neerja Chaudhary, do you think that this kind of action, is setting a good trend, or do you think it's not enough? We need harsher action?
I think, to begin with, I would say one never thought that the poll discourse and discussion in the world's largest democracy, which the whole world looks at and lauds, would be about women's underwear. I mean, it's unbelievable, the level to which it has gone. And I think we need to really take it seriously. I think it has to go beyond party matters. It's got to go beyond the secular, non-secular debate. If you can't respect women in your country, what is our democratic rights worth? And look at if this was said about you and me publicly, think of how humiliated we would feel. And somewhere it's done so lightly. Earlier, Mr. Azam Khan, referred to Jai Prada as Nachne Wali. I was in 2009 in Rampur, the day the nude pictures of Jai Prada went up. And when we went and saw her, she was in tears. But we saw, you can have bitter debates, you can, tear each other apart politically, but not to this level. So if you ask me, is this action good enough? I would say yes, you are at least taking some action, but certainly it's not good enough. And I think there needs to be a national debate on what the Election Commission should do in circumstances like this.
Exactly why I wanted to have this conversation tonight, and a larger conversation, because there are so many examples. And like you very well pointed out, Neeta Chaudhary, the election discourse just seems to get worse, every single time. Here is the Election Commission who's saying that not only is this comment indecent and derogatory and totally uncalled for, Commission has observed that Azam Khan has not changed his way of campaigning, and he's still indulging in using the very objectionable language in election campaigning. He was censured by the Election Commission on 16th of April 2014. And on 16th of April 2019, again, the Election Commission has been forced to do this. And that is embarrassing. Ghanshyam Tiwari, why do you have this man still in your party? Why are you still giving him a ticket?
Well, clearly this is now a matter of public opinion, and we are battling a very strong negative public perception that emerges from this. Azam Khan and be it any politician, they have to live up to their statements and stand for what they say. Face the consequences, even if the statements according to them are interpreted or misinterpreted. So Azam Khan ji has come back and said that his statement was misinterpreted. He was not speaking about any women, and it was not an insult towards any women. That is the point of view that our party holds. But that said, we face significant criticism in the hands of media and independent opinion makers, and we are ready to bear that, because clearly there is a mistake that has come to light, and as a result, as a political party, you put your point of view and let people decide.
But Ghanshyam Tiwari, he was punished in 2014 as well. He is the man who said Rajiv Saad got Babri Masjid unlocked, his entire family was wiped off because of that. That is Allah's justice. He is the man who has gone on to say Paris attacks are the reaction to action of superpowers. He is the man who said Mulayam Singh could only show his manhood till Rampur. Beyond that, he ended up seeming like a eunuch. He is the man who says RSS volunteers are homosexuals and that mobile phones are responsible for the rape of minors. And yet, despite what EC did in 2014, you have given him a ticket. Now, your explanation of whether you think his interpretation, your interpretation of what he said today is the same as ours, is not the problem. It is the man himself and how he talks and how he behaves.
Well, Tanvi, what has happened is politics has become fairly transparent and leaves no place to hide. Your statements from the past will be presented to you, and you will be measured in that light and your fresh statements. So he faces the public criticism that would exist. Yet he also gets public support for the values that he has stood up for people in the midst of a person like Yogi Adityanath becoming chief minister and pushing the weakest in the society to the brink and creating a propaganda politics. As far as past mistakes are concerned, around the same time, Mr. Amit Shah was also censured by the Election Commission. We saw a Prime Minister who has let his tongue loose umpteen number of times. If Election Commission is setting the standards here, by the same standards, by now Prime Minister should have been banned for 10 to 15 days. There are at least 5 violations that I can point to that he has done. As far as the violations are concerned, if you look at it, Mr. Kalyan Singh has been warned, Yogi Adityanath has been warned once, Menka Gandhi has been warned once. Comparatively, Mayawati ji was not warned. There was no warning. There's no scope for error. Azam Khan ji was not warned. There's no scope for error. So in that sense, you can see that there is a different yardstick that BJP has lived by so far. I really hope that in going further, this yardstick is not different.
Okay, I'm going to come to that point about the allegation that Mayawati has also
Prime Minister
made.
Modi should have been banned for the day he started.
I will come to that
using
aspect in just a bit.
The valor of our armed forces for his political rallies.
I will come to that part in just a bit, but this is not the time for you to point that out. This is the time for, ideally, you should be admitting to us that yes, even though there are people like Azam Khan exist and you know what he stands for and how his mindset works, you have no other, you out of your voting and election compulsions and desperate need to win are still giving him a ticket. I see no other reason why he still exists in your party. Or Akhilesh Yadav has double standards. He pretends to stand up for women and care about women empowerment, and then goes ahead and gives a ticket to a man who's in the past said कि अगर मैं नाचने वाली के मुंह लगूंगा तो मैं राजनीति कब करूंगा. That is Azam Khan for you. Yogita Bhayana, quick reaction from you on the action that the Election Commission has taken today. The big question we're asking is this enough, censuring him for 72 hours?
Certainly not, Tanvi. We could have given him benefit of doubt. It would have happened once, but not once, twice, thrice, n number of times. This person has come out as insane, as not mentally stable. I think he should not be in the party for the goodness of the party, because these people cannot openly condemn him, but he has lost his mental balance. He is not good enough to be a citizen also. He should be behind the bars for sure. Not only nomination should be cancelled, he should be put behind the bars. He's a dangerous man. He should not be sitting in the parliament for sure, because if you remember, there was a Bulandshahr case. I personally heard him saying that these women are lying, they were not raped. And I mean, if he can go to that extent that women are lying, they are not being raped, I think this person is insane. Forget about allowed or not to allowed for 72 hours. It is illegal. It is, outraging the modesty of a woman. It's a particular section in the legal this thing. So he has to go and face the music. But as we all know, a lot of other politicians are still serving as leaders. Nothing will go wrong with them, because nobody dares to take actions because he is so senior in the party. Not even a person will come forward to do that. So I think it's a time media should highlight it, and it should become a discourse, and high time, because it's beyond the belt. I mean, it's below the belt. He has hit not once, twice, many times, and a strict action. I think he should be sent to jail. I think that would be the clear message. Other than anything lesser than this, we are not ready to accept.
At least he should be disqualified and barred from fighting elections completely. Now,
start with.
That was our original demand here. We wanted to focus and we were going to focus primarily on Azam Khan, but the Election Commission's decisions have made this obviously a bigger debate. The 4 big orders that have come out today. And Anila Singh, I have all of those 4 orders with me over here, and I've been going through the details and the comments that Election Commission has made for each one of them. Here is what they have to say about the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Commission observes that being a senior leader, Yogi Adityanath should have desisted himself in making statements that have undertone and propensity to polarize the elections, which is not confined to the constituency only where the statement is made, but to other parts as well, due to the fast dissemination of information in this digital age. Will you accept it now, at least, that there has been an attempt by Adityanath to polarize the voters?
According to us, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji did not do anything or did not say anything to polarize the vote.
So you think Election Commission is wrong?
On the other hand, Mayawati ji stood very boldly on... please let me complete the statement. And on the other side, Mayawati ji very strongly stood on the stage and very blatantly she asked all the Muslims to vote for her, to vote for this Gathbandhan. And not once Yogi Adityanath ji asked very blatantly to one particular community to vote for Bharatiya Janata Party, because we want votes of everyone.
Election Commission she directly said that Muslims should vote for them, and he only differentiated on the basis of Ali and Bajrang Bali amongst the voters. So one is blatant and the other is not. So one sin is lesser than the other. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, actually he said it in very good humor. He said, वो अली का वोट मांग रही हैं, उनके साथ अली है तो हमारे साथ बजरंग बली हैं. But what to say about Azam Khan? I mean, even if we talk about the provocative statements from Azam Khan, I mean, we have to discuss what he said about Jayaprada ji yesterday, sorry. But he said Bajrang Ali. I mean, he insulted Bajrang Bali by calling him Bajrang Ali. I mean, this is not acceptable. But whatever
now
Yogi Adityanath ji said, an election commission
okay,
has,
so now you're derailing.
come out
I
with
didn't
an
ask
order.
you for what
So
you
we
thought
are
was
going to
offensive
plead
or not.
in the court.
I'm asking you on what election commission has said is wrong, inflammatory, divisive, and I'm quoting from election commission's order. And highly provocative speech which has a tone and tenor to aggravate existing differences and create mutual hatred between different religious communities. This is the chief minister they're talking about.
Tanvi, I am not going to comment anything on the orders of election commission, but our party is going ahead to plead in the court, because Yogi Adityanath ji did not say anything which could result into divisive votes.
You are saying you're going to plead against this order that is implemented starting tomorrow morning. You're going to go to court before that against this order?
To the best of my knowledge, yes, we are going.
Well, this is interesting. This is the BJP here taking a stand against the Election Commission and saying that we are going to go against the Election Commission's order to the court and challenge it because Adityanath has been barred from campaigning for the next 72 hours. Quick response from Ghanshyam Tiwari, and then I'm going to go across to Professor Chokar on the larger concept of the neutrality of Election Commission. But Ghanshyam Tiwari, to you first. What did you want to say?
When you look at Adityanath, his track record, his own candidature, the forms that he has failed, ADR would have the full report of it. There is this is a track record of hatred, track record of toxic public behavior, and as a result he becomes the chief minister. He represents something that BJP thinks is instrumental to the politics of Bharatiya Janata Party. He comes and starts using the same tools in the election, and he does this repeatedly from Modi ji ki Sena all the way to this point, and he's handled with kid glove. He's the first chief minister in India who has been barred by election commission. No other chief minister. So clearly BJP doesn't care about election commission or ethos. I am not here to say that I do not care about the public perception that is being built with Azam Khanji's statement. I care, and I would present my point of view, but I will face those consequences. But BJP just does not care.
I'm going to go across to Professor Chokar. Good evening, Professor Chokar. Thank you for joining us. The big debate also is this allegation that is being made by Mayawati, saying that the Election Commission is biased and they didn't give me a chance to present myself personally. They didn't even give me a CD or a recording of this alleged clip that they're talking about, which they thought was objectionable. You also have a BJP panelist sitting with us tonight who is saying they are going to go and appeal against the Election Commission's order. Do you think there is merit to anybody claiming right now on the basis of this decision that Election Commission is being biased or acting under someone's pressure?
You see, there have been discussions and comments and observations about the behavior of the Election Commission over the last 2 or 3 years. There has been there was a lot of comment when the elections to Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh were announced. The Election Commission is the highest constitutional independent body for the conduct of elections. And as I have said earlier, it should not only be neutral, it should also be seen to be neutral. And therefore, it needs to be perhaps a little more proactive in its showing the proof or the evidence of its neutrality. But that having been said, the issue here is not the Election Commission. The issue is the political discourse in the country and the sense of responsibility or a sense of total irresponsibility on behalf of the entire political establishment. We can now sit and criticize Yogi Adityanath, Mayawati and whoever else, but we have had more senior and national leaders saying things like Maut ka Saudagar and 50 crore ki girlfriend.
Right.
Now, you know, when we don't react to those statements, then people like Adityanath, Mayawati and whoever else we were talking about, they get encouraged. Now, this is the problem. The Election Commission seems to be a little diffident when it comes to, taking on bigger leaders. Several years ago, I remember Bal Thackeray was banned from contesting elections and voting in elections for 6 years. And that time the Election Commission took a very stern stand. And I think that is what is called for. We have this phenomenon of creep, कि इतना तो चलता है. The decision should be कुछ भी नहीं चलता है. Any violation of decency of any sort has to be condemned by the Election Commission and by media and by civil society as a whole. Every politician will give you an example of the other political party, and he or she will say, my political party is not as bad as the other one. The contest is not on being less bad or more bad. The contest should be on not being bad at all. Anybody who says anything unparliamentary, anything indecent, should be barred completely for 6 years.
Correct. Absolutely. And I think that's a good, a point to take our conversation forward. And I want to just at this point also highlight what the Supreme Court said today and what transpired in the hearing. Now, Supreme Court is hearing a matter with the Election Commission, where the Election Commission was pulled up today and asked that what are you doing about all these hate speeches that are being made, these divisive comments that are being made everywhere. And the Election Commission's representative turned around and said that, well, we are toothless and we are powerless. We are literally, this is the Election Commission telling the Supreme Court, we are helpless. We don't know how to stop these netas. It's interesting though that on the same day by evening, Election Commission has at least managed to bar 4 netas from campaigning for 48 to 72 hours. But Dija Chaudhary, the point that you also raised earlier, now the Supreme Court is going to examine the powers of EC starting tomorrow. This is a good time to have that conversation. Do we give more powers to the Election Commission? How do we go about this to ensure that there is more accountability during the poll campaigning season?
Look, what is the worrying part of what we are seeing is that the people who have been debarred from campaigning, Maneka Gandhi, Union Minister, several times Union Minister, Mayawati, the head of a party, Azam Khan, 9 times legislator, not once, twice, thrice. This is now that he is contesting Lok Sabha, but 9 times MLA from Rampur. Yogi Adityanath, constitutional head of the largest state of India. So I ask myself, is it happening by default? These are not first time MPs. By default, or is it by design?
Correct.
And therefore, if it is by design, then what do you do about something as serious as that? Now, I would also have that if you give the Election Commission more powers, more teeth, quote unquote, and the Election Commission is not even-handed.
Yes.
In its actions. And what we've seen in recent months and weeks, there is a doubt creeping in that are they really acting in an even-handed manner? If you give them powers when they're not even-handed, will those powers be used against people who are, opponents of the ruling party and those in power?
But
that would be... is that a solution?
But many would turn around right now and say, but look, they took action against a union minister and a sitting chief minister of the BJP. So will it be fair to call them?
Absolutely. In this case, yes. Absolutely. In this case, all for. Yes. But there have been other instances where question marks were raised.
Okay. Professor Chokar wants to say something and then we'll go to Ghanshyam
so
and
it's a very dicey, I think it needs a lot
I get your
thinking.
point. You're saying if you give them those powers and there is a possibility that they don't use it, in a neutral manner, then that's a bigger danger. I get that point that you're making. Professor Chokar, go ahead, please.
That's right.
There are 2 issues. One, Election Commission's powers need to be articulated, defined, stated unambiguously. But along with that, the method of appointing election commissioner needs to be changed. Currently, the election commissioners are appointed by the government of the day. It is high time that we move to a collegium system where the opposition parties and the judiciary also have a say in appointment of election commissioners. And secondly, the two election commissioners should be given the same constitutional protection as the chief election commissioner. Unless we do these two things, giving them more power will be absolutely questionable, as Nirja very rightly has said, that how we need to ensure, structurally we need to ensure that they act even-handedly. And as I said, they are even-handed. Not only they are even-handed, but they should also be seen to be even-handed.
Correct.
That will only happen when the appointment and service conditions of the election commissioners are changed.
Correct. But to the other point that she made, and Ghanshyam Tiwari, we come back to that. Look at those people who faced action today. You know, a union minister who's been elected multiple times from that constituency, a chief minister who's been a 4-time MP, Azam Khan, who has repeatedly won from the Rampur constituency itself. Now, that just goes on to show that political parties, including yours, just don't care about these issues as long as there is winnability.
Well, it's a fair commentary, but there is an additional argument that when you see Prime Minister Modi openly brandishing his presence and his articulation against what the Election Commission says, especially with respect to army, with majority, minority, it tells everybody else that you can play foul in this system and nothing happens. There's no penalty. Well, what was the response to Modi ji ke Sena? What did Election Commission do to Kalyan Singh? So when Election Commission gave such a long rope to so many people, it just sent out a clear message that there is a long rope.
Which is why you won't do anything you won't act against Azam Khan?
The Election Commission really cares.
And that's your justification for not acting against Azam Khan?
No, I'm saying that no, I'm saying one, it is the Election Commission has acted against Azam Khan. We respect Election Commission. But I don't see, I have not come across a single fact or logic that tells why Prime Minister Modi should have such a long rope of openly going against the model code. And it's not just today. 2014, when he went out to vote, he showed his party symbol. He went out to vote, he turned his voting into a road show. There are examples where the Prime Minister goes out and sets an example of how he can twist or break a model code in the poll time. And
yes,
the Election Commission looks the other way.
Yogi
It clearly tells the other party and the opposition in general that playing in this manner is all right.
Yogi Bhayana wanted to come in. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I just wanted to ask Mr. Ghanshyam, okay, we understand moral code of conduct, and you are, as usual, you are playing the blame game and doing a comparative study with the other parties. But how much time it takes, and why don't you take efforts on Azam Khan? Do you really need Election Commission for that? Do you really, if you really want to give a good message, what is stopping you from taking some action within the party? Why can't you send a very good message for women's safety? Because, you know, ultimately when we work with women and when we deal with rape cases and all, they're all interrelated. Our politicians sitting there making such remarks definitely goes down to the level where, you know, the rapes are happening and country and the states are not safe for women, because ultimately it's all interrelated. Why don't you just convince your party to take action against him? Not only cancelling his nomination, throw him out of the party. That will send a clear message. You don't need moral code of conduct or Election Commission for taking such actions. If you have the willpower, you can do it. You just don't worry about the public perception.
You know why it is important, Ghanshyam Tiwari? Because one would want to believe that the era of Mulayam Singh Yadav is gone now, that you have a younger, more dynamic person leading your party right now, and so boys will be boys, kind of a dirty sexist mindset is not going to be acceptable anymore, which is why Akhilesh needs to send this message that the likes of Azam Khan won't get a place in your party.
So I hear both of you, and I see a fixation to one statement, and in that light I see that nobody repeats. Just because we as opposition do not come to every debate and repeat that Modi ji said 50 crore ki girlfriend doesn't mean that was any less of a statement. As far as the party is concerned, one, we are a party powered by the vision of Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, who saw women as equal and equal power that has to be powered in this society. And even in our vision statement, vision patra that we have released, we have dedicated a specific set of ideas towards vision, and we believe that the next
what is happening in the party
allow
right
me to
now?
complete. You had a long question. Please do not interject.
Can say anything.
Please do not interject. Allow me to complete. You had a long question. You had a long question. Please. We have said what I respect your question, but please allow me to answer. We believe we have a certain vision, and we believe that the next decade belongs to women, both politically and otherwise, and we have to double opportunities in workforce for women and so many other things. I can speak about that. But to your core question, that why does party not take action against a leader or other leader?
Yes.
I think parties look at the politics that plays out, and no leader is just limited to one sentence of that leader.
There are Azam Khan, Ghanshyam, come on, stop defending him, with all your might. Azam Khan is not one sentence person.
I'm not defending, I'm just saying my point.
He has made at least 35 comments that if I start reading out, there won't be any place left for a debate further on this. But I'm going to go across to Anila Singh. Anila Singh, the fact of the matter is, it's not just Azam Khan. There are these politicians present in every single party. There are now portals that are being created to actually define how sexist is your neta. And topping those charts along with Azam Khan are multiple leaders from the BJP, including Gopal Shetty from Maharashtra, who made recent very unacceptable comments about Urmila Matondkar. There are multiple people from your party. There is Surendra Narayan Singh. There is Mahesh Sharma topping the charts here. So why do you think your party gives preference to sexist netas? Apart from, of course, the divisive ones and those who threaten the voters.
Tanvi, many a times I have shared panel on your channel talking about women rights, talking about women empowerment, and what type of mindset these politicians have towards the women. And I have always stood very strongly whenever any case of women has come up. And whenever you have asked me even about a derogatory comment from anybody, even if from my party, I have always said, no, it is incorrect. I totally condemn it. I have never ever stood and advocated about that person in my party. But unfortunately, Ghanshyam Tiwari is sitting on your panel and he is advocating what Azam Khan said for Jayaprada ji. And on the other side, he says we respect the verdict given by the Election Commission. So it shows that they do agree that Azam Khan made derogatory comments for Jayaprada. I mean,
but
people in politics, they keep
but
on
at least they're accepting what the
objectifying
Election
women.
Commission
They
is saying.
cross their lines, but this is too shallow.
But at least they accept what the Election Commission is saying. The Election Commission has found the Chief Minister making hate speeches and provocative speeches, and you're not even agreeing to that.
No, but Tanvi, I am saying on one side he is saying that Azam Khan did not say anything for Jayaprada, and on the other side he is saying that we respect the verdict given by the Election Commission. So he has to clarify on which side he is standing. And he means political party, Samajwadi Party, whom he is representing.
Like clearly, the stands of the party change
according to your
on the basis of the action by the Election Commission.
Tanvi, just give me 2-3 more seconds, please.
Yes.
Yeah. Tanvi, just now you read many names of the leaders from Bharatiya Janata Party. Even I have got a list in front of me. Scores of leaders from different political parties, how they have objectified women.
Correct.
So let us not talk about the BJP or Congress.
No,
I
will. When I come to you, I will only obviously point out the BJP leaders. But there is no point in pointing out the sexist netas, the divisive netas, or the threatening netas from other political parties. Anila Singh, there is a list.
You can't,
and we are keeping a track of it. That is all I'm saying. Let me bring in a viewer from one of our viewers calling us. I take your point, Anila Singh, but that's no justification for having those people in your party and not acting against them. Ram is on the phone line calling us from Bengaluru. Good evening. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. See, I just go with Mr. Jagdeep, so what he said for how the Election Commission should be. I think he made a right point along with the senior justice Neeraja. I think they made a real good points. For me, what I see is like two things. One is like who has abused the women has to be barred for 6 years of election. And whoever is talking about religion and other stuff has to be given a warning. If it is second time, as Jagdeep sir said, they have to be barred. This is absolutely making votes only during the elections and making use of the religion is absolute nonsense, and this is not the way to fight it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ram, for calling. I completely agree with you. After the first warning, there has to be stricter action, especially for repeat offenders, and there are so many of them. And 48 hours and 72 hours next time may not just do the job, but we will wait and see how that plans out. Now that the Supreme Court is also looking at the powers of the Election Commission. Quickly, one more viewer on the phone line from Pune, I believe. Mr. Vishwas is there. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Tanvi, for allowing me to speak. As Ram has made his point loud and clear, okay, I would also like to point out onto the same thing, okay. The only thing that I feel that there is no yardstick with these people, all the politician parties, and even the Election Commission really does not have any yardstick. Now, don't you think Indianism is our religion also? Should it not be considered? Because all the Indians, even is it equally? I'm not saying upper than religion or any other denomination that we are talking about. So if somebody is utilizing that factor as to grab their votes, don't you think this is an insult? So
I understand the point, Mr. Vishwas, that asking for votes on the basis of any religion is not allowed right now. Though I don't have enough time to further delve into what you are saying yet, but I appreciate you calling, and I know you're a regular viewer, so thank you so much for watching and calling us. Completely out of time, I'm going to thank all of my panelists one more time. Let me just read out the brief observations made by Election Commission. Election Commission today said for Yogi Adityanath's Ali Bajrangbali comment that he has made a highly provocative speech that has a tone and tenor to aggravate existing differences or create mutual hatred between different religious communities, and hence there has been action. He cannot make any speeches or do any kind of campaigning for the next 72 hours. Election Commission also said Azam Khan is not only indecent but also derogatory and totally uncalled for in that statement that has been made by him, and that he has not changed his way of campaigning. He is still indulging in using very objectionable language, something that Akhilesh Yadav should now understand instead of defending Azam Khan over there. Here is what Election Commission said for Mayawati. She should have desisted herself in making statements that have the undertone and propensity to polarize the elections, which is not confined to constituency only where the statement is made, but to the other parts as well. So she is being censured for asking for vote on the basis of religion. She thinks that Election Commission is biased, and that's the stand she has decided to take. And of course, Maneka Gandhi has also been censured, and she has been reprimanded for trying to threaten the voters if they did not vote for her because they were Muslims. The big message here, the divisive speeches, that polarizing politics, that sexism is not okay. But will only action against these four netas and only censuring them for 48 to 72 hours really do the job, or should there be more? I think for repeat offenders, there should be harsher punishment. Thank you for joining us. Think about it. Good night.